Hello to all of our new and returning teachers. My name is Sister Nehring, Laura Nehring. I am the administrative assistant here at the Fresno Institute, and I help Brother Anderson in his calling and also help you in yours. And I wanted to go over a couple of things really quickly today, just to kind of give you, for those of you who are new, an overview of WISE, which is the administrative tool that we use as seminary teachers. And for those of you who've been seminary teachers for a while, maybe it's a refresher course for you, so that you're familiar with all the things that are happening on there. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, so I'm going to begin by saying that one of the things that is happening this summer is a lot of changes are happening in WISE. The reading is changing, things like that. They have to update all of that so that WISE reflects those changes. So if I create classes now, it will be created with the old information and not the new. And so we're waiting until we get the go ahead, and then we can go ahead and set up the classes for next term. So right now, none of you will be able to access current classes, but I will be setting those up as soon as I can. But I wanted to give you an overview in the meantime, and so I'm using Brother Anderson's Institute class that's happening this summer. When you log in, you're going to log in to wise2.churchofjesuschrist.org, and you'll enter your username and password. I would strongly advise, and the church strongly advises you to set up a two-step authentication, whether that's through a code that gets sent or to use Oak to Verify or something of that to that effect. When you get on, your class will show up, and you'll see a summary with all the list of the students in your class. You'll notice here that under student status, there are some icons that come up. If you're curious about what those are, you can, I don't know why it's not doing it, but you can, usually there's a little blue question mark box right there, and you can click on it and it will tell you what it is that, here, let me see if I can change this. Nope, it won't let me. Okay, never mind. Okay, but if you click on the question mark, it'll show you what all of those little icons mean. For example, this person hasn't filled out the registration form. This person has makeup work to do for this term, that kind of thing. So that's all available too. And one of the nice things about WISE is that there's always little helps all over the screen, and you can click on things that will help you to find your find out what different parts mean. The attendance tab is where you can assign attendance. Over here, you'll have institutes a little different than seminary, so you'll have present, absent, tardy, makeup, absence, makeup, tardy, that kind of thing. So if everybody was there, you could leave it on present and click mark all unmarked, and it will fill in your entire class. And you don't have to go and click each one of them individually. You can leave the ones who are, if you just had 2 people absent, you could click on those, change it to absent, click on those 2, and then go back to present and click mark all unmarked. The reading, like I said, will change. Credit we'll get to later, because that's something that you worry about at the end of the term, and I'll go into much more detail on that. I will be adding students to your classes, but the scheduling page is where you add and remove people from your class. The details of your class will be here. It'll give it kind of an overview, the name of the course, which will be the second half of the New Testament, that kind of thing. Your class sessions, it'll show your schedule for the semester. If you ever have a time when you're sick or school gets closed or something and you can't do class and you need to cancel it, you can either let me know or you can go up to the edit button And all the classes in light blue are the ones that are scheduled. And you can click on one and you'll notice that it goes to white. And so that took it away. Make sure though that you always click the save button at the bottom of the screen. Another way that you can do this is in the attendance. You'll notice that each day has a screen here. If there's a green check mark, that means all of your attendance has been done for the day. If you miss someone or you only put in everybody that was present and forgot to go back and do the absent, you'll get a circle that's half green, half white. If it's blank like this, that means that no attendance was marked for that day. On this little I call it a hamburger menu. When you click on that, it can also you can also do it here to delete the class session. But again, that's only if you're sick or the school has canceled for the day. In lessons, you can add lessons to the days of your class schedule. I highly recommend this. This takes a little bit of effort and time for you at the beginning, but over time, everything that you put in WISE is connected to the My Seminary app. And so if a student says that they've missed a day, you can tell them to go to the My Seminary app, and it will show them which lesson they missed on that day. And so you don't have to try and keep track. You can just put it all in. It's a little bit harder to show you here because it doesn't have this particular class that Brother Anderson is doing doesn't have a lesson set schedule. But when you come here with your class, all of the New Testament, the second half of the New Testament will all be listed here, and you just drag and drop it into the day of the week. So that is a quick overview of WISE. And like I said, they won't have that ready for me to do until probably end of June, somewhere in there. I will let you know. Trust me, I will let you know. So now I want to quickly move on to Canvas for new teachers and the new teacher training. You get onto Canvas by putting in silearn.churchofjesuschrist.org. If you're brand new to it, it'll ask you if you want to sign in or sign up. Please click on sign in, and you will use your church username and account, church account username and password to get onto it. And it'll come up. You won't have all of this extra stuff that I've got here, but you want the Fresno Coordinator Stake Training tile. And when you click on that, it will take you to the main page here. This is for new teacher training. If you started last year and in the middle of the term and still haven't had a chance to take that, I suggest that you do, but just click on the new teacher training. It'll take you through a guided lessons on the new teacher training. I should have thought of this beforehand, but I'm also going to show you for everybody else on YouTube. Brother Anderson does his trainings on YouTube, and he has his own channel account, whatever you want to call it. And he and some other people do weekly scripture block discussions. There's things about the handbook, about credit, all those different kinds of things. And you can go and look at all of the videos that he's posted, things like that. And that's very helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to that so you get the notifications when he adds new videos. So anyway, that's a quick overview. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you at our in-person training, which is the 25th of June here at the Fresno Institute at 6:00 p.m. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we'll see you then. Thank you.
All right, everybody, welcome. So this is the first of several trainings that we're going to do this summer for this upcoming school year. I know for some of you, if you feel like you just barely took a deep breath from finishing out the school year, the 2023 spring. And so I apologize if this is a little bit too quick coming. It's only been a week since graduation. I understand that. But we do have some new faces that we do want to start some of this in service, try to get people on the same page. And to be honest, some of us just need a good refresher. So Laura gave us some information to consider and to pay attention to. If you have any questions about WISE or any of the back office things, please reach out to her directly. If you have questions in whatever, you can reach out to her or me, and we can make sure that we get the answer to you. So I want to talk about some administrative stuff just so that you are aware. The first thing I wanted to show you is what's here on the screen. This is the emergency response guide. This is something that I have to do as coordinator. I need to share with you some of these policies in case any emergency takes place. And as you can see, there's quite a few things that we are given some instruction on and how to kind of move forward. So just so you're aware, when it comes to building security, I just want you to be aware of these items. Now, obviously, your stake is actually in charge of building security, but just so that you're aware of some things, and if you are uncomfortable with management of the building or whatever it is, feel free to kind of reach out to your stake and make sure that things are all done properly so that you are safe and everyone else who's in the building is safe. So number one, I just need to make sure you understand law enforcement is your first resource to deal with emergencies and security incidents. Okay. We'll talk about break-ins and things here in a second, but let's get after first responders when something like this takes place. Also, avoid being alone in the building. And I think most of us typically either have multiple teachers and or somebody from the stake is assigned. If you don't and you're uncomfortable with that, please reach out to me. Actually, to be honest, reach out to your stake supervisor and let's get after that. Okay. Some of these other things are pretty straightforward. Make sure you're locking vehicles in the parking lot, right? Do the things that we're supposed to do to keep our property safe. Communicate. If you find somebody or something that's suspicious, whatever, communicate with people so that we can get things taken care of, right? Let's report things quickly. If things are suspicious, do not approach those situations by yourself, right? Know where your fire alarms are. Like, these are just things that we need to be paying attention to. I would say we are having a little bit of an issue in some buildings. Let's make sure that the buildings are secured when we leave so that we don't have problems when we show up the next day, right? And as things kind of happen, right? People's behavior, if it becomes disorderly, unacceptable, right? There's certain things that we can do. If you have questions about any of this stuff and you'd like further information, please reach out to me, right? So we can make sure that we're all feeling safe. Just one of the things, if there is an emergency, you and I are not really in charge of media involvement. So make sure that if stuff happens and media shows up, you and I are not spokespeople, right? Make sure that you direct them to the proper stake people. So incident reporting, we're going to talk about abuse in a second, but make sure that in emergency situations, you got to let people know so that we can make reports in the global incident report. Now that's going to come down to your stakes to do that, but make sure that they get the right information. Here it's talking about if this was an S&I building, and that doesn't really apply to you, right? Let's talk abuse for a second. We need to understand and be familiar with local laws regarding our responsibility and liabilities of reporting abuse. When it comes to child abuse, we are mandatory reporters. If you're unaware of how that goes down, bishops have access to a helpline that goes directly to attorneys. And so there's some information that could be done that can help us if we are made aware of abuse situations, right? In fact, we got some numbers right here. So if you have questions about anything, you may feel free to reach out to this number down here. It's an 800 number. But I would definitely make sure bishops are involved and know what's going on. During an incident, right? When it appears that they might talk about personal or family involvement with abuse, the teacher needs to explain that they are required to report all allegations, right? Be patient, be sensitive, be reassuring, be understanding. Direct them as best you can to their bishops or branch presidents to talk about these issues. To be honest, you and I are not trained to handle certain situations. Now, obviously, if there's real concern for danger, risk, whatever it is, we're going to take care of things best we can in the moment. But if you feel like there's a way that you can get the bishop involved so that you are not, please do that. If you have questions or concerns on this, feel free to reach out to me, right? These are fun topics, right? Don't you love this? Here's some active shooter situations. Again, a lot of this is just, man, there's just a lot of stuff. Bomb threats won't necessarily be a thing for you because you don't have a phone number that people use for seminary buildings, but there is a policy for that. To be honest, there's a policy for all of these. One that I think is really most important for you is building evacuation. If there's something that's taking place that you need to get out, now you're not going to coordinate with the local school because you're not release time, but you probably need to have a decision made with your fellow teacher, anybody who's in the building teaching, and your stake as far as where are we going to evacuate to and where are we going to assemble. That's going to be a good thing to do. Make sure you're taking roll every day so you're not having to track down which kids are where, so you can know if anybody's in danger, right? I do want to point this one out. This is burglary and vandalism. What do you do if you show up to the building and a door is left ajar or broken into, or it's suspicious and you're worried, right? One of the things you're going to need to do is make sure you take real precaution. Don't put yourself in a life-threatening situation. In a lot of cases, we're going to ask you to just go ahead and, if you're thinking that there is a situation, burglary or somebody broke into the building, call law enforcement. Don't even enter the building, right? So that you can have them take care of things. You don't need to walk in there and clear the building yourself. Civil disturbances, like I'm telling you, there's just a lot here. So earthquakes, know some procedures if your stake has procedures as far as earthquake, how to respond and what to do to keep everybody safe. Some emotional emergencies, please just be very reassuring, listen carefully. In some cases, you may have to make some mental notes, right? Administer first aid, right? If this is an emergency that caused actual physical harm. Again, make note of helpful information. If it is life-threatening, call emergency personnel. Otherwise, you're going to call parents and let them know. In a case where it's emotional emergency, there is going to be an incident report to keep, right? If it's an abuse, there is no incident report that we keep, right? So all of these are just helpful. If you would like to have a copy of this, please let me know. I can send this out to you. In fact, I'll probably put this in our folder and send you a link just so you can look at it. Just be aware, this is very seminary building oriented. So in some cases, it doesn't apply to you because you're going to be in a stake building. Still good information to have so that if there's a situation that you feel like could happen, you can let your stake know how to approach things. Okay. All right. That was kind of a heavy topic, so sorry about that. I do want to kind of turn your attention here. This is going to be way more useful to you for this coming school year. Okay. Just so that we're all on the same page, right? Understand that our objective is really to assist parents and church leaders in helping the youth and young adults increase in their faith, right? So we're going to try to be supportive to home-centered study of the scriptures. So here are some things that we want to make sure that we're understanding. In stake seminary classes, daily seminary classes should be held each day school is in session. This may be something to discuss with supervisors and stake leaders. I know that we have different traditions and different stakes, but technically speaking, we should try to have seminary if school's going on. Okay. There are options. If you're going to hold a class 5 days a week, then class needs to be a certain number of minutes. Now you can go to the handbook of instruction. It actually tells you that in 15.1.2. If you're going to only have 4 classes a week, then your class needs to be 60 minutes. So there's different options as far as that's concerned. Your stake makes that decision. You don't on your own. So make sure that as a teacher, you're not just deciding we're going to hold class at a different time. You need to make sure you're consulting with the stake. We do want to just make sure you're aware if you're new to seminary teaching or if you're newish, right? Every seminary student has the opportunity to graduate from seminary. What they need to do is they actually need to earn credit for every semester. In order to graduate, you must earn credit for 8 semesters of seminary, 4 school years, right? Semester 1, semester 2 of each school year. To do that, to earn credit towards seminary every semester, they must attend 75% of the time. Okay, that's first requirement. They must read the required reading passages, which we can discuss. We will discuss in other videos. And that those required reading is for each semester. There's a required reading. They also must participate in the doctrinal mastery learning assessment at the end of the semester, right? You can receive a certificate of completion for each semester or year that you qualify for credit. And if at the end of your high school experience, you have 8 semesters of credit, then you will receive a seminary diploma towards graduation, right? So that reading requirement, there's just some additional information here. Reading requirements, we'll send that paper that shows the required chapters and pages for each semester, right? We're going to be in the second half of the New Testament this coming year. So we'll be from Acts through Revelation. And in fact, when school starts, we'll be partway through and into Romans, I'm sure. But we're also going to help and assist these students make personal goals in addition to those pages. And again, there'll be a video that'll discuss that a little bit more. Attendance is going to be something that you are to track on your own as a teacher using the WISE system. Again, there will be more training to help you with that. Just so you know, there is no grade in seminary. Students will either earn credit or they will not. It's if pass fail makes you feel better about it, it's credit or no credit is ultimately what it is. But I did want to point out just for today, there is makeup work available for things, especially now that there's required reading. If they didn't get the reading done in previous semesters, we can actually give them makeup readings now. And there will be a paper, a link that I send you to help you understand that. But there's also makeup work for missed days of class. They need to be 75% or more in their attendance. If they drop below 75%, they're going to have to make up some of those days. Now, there is home study. There's home experiences. There's a manual that they can do. That's actually really great. It's ready-made for their makeup. If they start dropping below, you can actually give them a link to the individual lessons you want them to make up. And all that they would need to bring into you is the work product. Those lessons are really great. They actually say, here, read these scriptures and write down the answers to these questions or do this activity in your journal or whatever it is. They just need to show you the activities that they did that demonstrate that they made up that work, right? Specific assignments are determined by the teacher. They should be related and comparable to the work missed. Makeup assignments should be meaningful and individually suited to the abilities and needs of the students. Students needing to complete makeup work should communicate and work with their seminary teacher as soon as possible. Students should not wait until the year or month of seminary graduation to begin their makeup work. Boy, wouldn't that be great? If there are students with large groups of like big numbers of absences that need to be made up, please speak to your stake supervisor or myself so that we can come up with a solution that's suited to the needs of the student. Okay. Not necessarily busy work for the sake of busy work. But if they're just missing a handful of days to make up, just assign them chapters to do, lessons to do in the home manual. And if you have questions about it, feel free to reach out to me. Okay. Here are those required readings. Okay. I can make this all available to you in this paper. So for next semester, we've already done this. This is Matthew, and then Matthew, Luke, and John. These would have been required reading last semester. Here's the required reading for the fall of 2023. They must read these chapters to reach that reading requirement. Beyond this, we're going to help them set their own personal goals. And that can look very differently. These are required, bare minimum, but we're also going to help them set additional goals. That gives them some freedom to read the Book of Mormon daily. That gives them some freedom to focus on some things with their families, right? So just, that's what this looks like. Okay. I think ultimately this is a pretty good rundown of what you need to be expecting next year. If you have questions or concerns about any of this, about anything that Laura has said, please reach out to either of us. We are here to help. We're super excited to be with you, not just the school year, but also this summer. This is going to be for this week's in-service. We will be doing an in-person in-service in the next couple of weeks, so be looking for those email invitations. If you have questions about any of this, please feel free to reach out. We're super excited to be with you and to be working together. I am always willing to answer any questions you may have, so please feel free to reach out. Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you when we see you, and good luck in your beginning preparations.